There we go.
Okay, so welcome everybody. We are here, einav, Avni and me, in Untangled Coaching, in Healing Conversations. And I'm going to interview einav about her special topic about stopping the negative self talk inside. And I'm very, very happy that we can meet each other now here. Einav is in London, I am here in Amsterdam. And yeah, Einav, it's great to see you. Welcome.
It's so awesome to be here in this way. It's the other way around, so I'm very excited to be here in the hot seat today. Thank you.
Yes, because yeah, you have been interviewing many people, me as well at some point, and the healing conversations are very inspiring. It's like I've been following many of them, and yeah, to have questions being asked and hearing the answers, it's great to listen and to learn. And now, yeah, here we are, and I'm happy that you made the time. And I have been, yeah, we know each other for a year, I think, and I've been always enjoying a lot to talk with you because you are amazing in your quality of listening and how you ask questions. And now it's my turn to ask you some questions. So yeah, your speciality is identifying people's inner, I call it landscape. So what's happening inside? So these critical voices. Can you tell us a bit about how you do that and how you work with clients?
Yes, absolutely. So it is really interesting. Sometimes when I just listen to people, and of course they use the words that they use inside, outside, right? It's basically they're repeating the conversation that they have within themselves. They repeat it outside. And when you
Mm-hmm.
just listen to the words, it's so easy to recognize all the negativity. It's like, oh, I'm so stupid, or it will never work out, or I can't do this, or I can't do this,
Mm-hmm.
to that. So it's all of these negative conversations that they have inside of them when they're sharing it with me, and I can be a part of it. It's very easy to recognize that actually, when you just stop this flow of negativity, you are able to take stock of what you have, what you want to do, what is in front of you. You're
Mm-hmm.
basically removing yourself from this automatic cycle that is happening inside of you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is why the very first thing that I do with my clients is always trying to listen to what they're saying and
Mm-hmm.
understanding where they're kind of blocking themselves with
Mm-hmm.
this unconscious cycle.
Yeah.
Um,
So you are identifying through your listening what is happening inside as they're projecting it outside and telling you.
yes,
That's,
exactly. Yes.
yeah.
And
That's
the interesting thing that immediately happens is when I bring it to their attention, they're shocked because they're so used to having this kind of conversation within themselves that they don't actually recognize it. So they
so
don't
they have maybe accepted it as normal or that.
exactly
Yeah.
exactly that
Oh,
this
wow.
is their pattern. So they do this all the time, and then they're like, I feel stuck, or I feel unmotivated or unfulfilled, and
Mhm,
and they're like, how come I remember a time in my life where everything was so beautiful and flowy, and now
mhm,
it's not. And then I say, okay, so let's talk about it, what's happening. And as soon as
mhm,
people start talking, you can really hear how they don't believe in themselves, they don't trust themselves, they
mhm,
connect with the feeling of low self-esteem and low confidence.
mhm,
All of these things, they become very apparent. And what I do with them is just I help them to see how, at what point in their lives, in a sense, they created this limiting belief or this habit of speaking negatively to themselves. And,
okay.
and then I help them to see that it was a choice that they kind of made, but not because it was an empowering one, but because it was maybe, a coping mechanism or the best thing that they could have done at that point.
Yeah. So you mentioned a coping mechanism. So, and also to go back at a point in time when the inner decision happens. Oh, I sounds like they want to protect themselves. Is that right?
Yeah, a lot of the time, yes. A lot of
Yeah.
the time, it's exactly that. It's is this. Well, I better kind of protect myself to say I won't be able to do this, or basically how can I stay where I am at the moment in my comfort zone where it's all familiar and it's all known and I don't have to to try anything new. I don't have to put myself out there for, for success, for failure, for rejection. I just won't do that. And
Yes.
then,
It's like they have a shell around that feels safe, but it's also a bit maybe like a prison.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Uh-huh.
exactly right. And then when we start talking about these things, we start saying, well, how come? How come you chose to put yourself in this prison, in a sense?
Yeah.
And then they bring instances and an example of life. Oh, it's my mom, it's my dad, it's my teacher, it's my whatever,
Mm.
whatever. And then you can see that actually a lot of the time, these coping mechanisms, they started when they were really, really young. But at
Mm.
that point, they didn't really understand what was going on and how come they were facing or feeling this pain. And now that they are older, they're still using the coping mechanism that they created when they were young, but they don't need that because now they are able to make the connections to understand really why people do or say the things that they do or
Yeah.
say.
So it's actually throwing a light on habits that are past the sell-by date, if I could say it. It's like, if you have a packet of milk, it's not serving you anymore because it's
Exactly,
actually it's inhibiting you. And
exactly.
it's
But
also
this
like
is
the name Untangled coaching. It's that actually help people to untangle their stuff that holds them back. That's brilliant. I mean, that's really liberating and making people more free inside.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
Yeah, that is so, and it is so necessary and needed because I think many people have this critical voice, especially when you're ambitious and also when you have high standards or high values. I think then, yeah, that goes naturally on like hand in hand.
yes, yes. And this is something that I notice a lot, as I progress in my own journey in life. I really realize that the people I'm having conversation with, of course, with my clients and webinars that I do and stuff like that, one of the biggest thing that is holding us back is this comparison when we compare ourselves to others or when we compare ourselves to a version of ourselves that hasn't materialized yet. So we're constantly going around feeling that we're not good enough, that we're not in the place that we should be, that others are better than us, and also that others are just naturally good at what they do. And look at us, we are completely the opposite.
Huh.
And what I really want to do with my clients is help them to recognize that actually where they are and who they are and all of their unique voice, their unique way that they approach life, their attitudes, their experience, the everything that they bring to the table
Mm-hmm.
is so unique and so incredible and so wonderful that there is really no reason to compare themselves to others because they're really doing themselves injustice by comparing.
Oh,
So,
yeah, and
so
also when I hear you comparing, it's actually a game that never works out because everybody is so unique, and and the split second you start comparing, you're leaving yourself because everybody
exactly.
else is everybody else.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But the point is that it's so ingrained in people to look at others and what are they doing and how well they are doing, and they look at others and say, oh, I really like the way that they're doing something. Immediately they look at themselves. They say, oh, I don't see it in myself. It must mean that I'm not good enough. And
Mm.
now it's like trying to create a new reality that is based on this other person's abilities or experiences or whatever, and so their own unique way of doing things is left behind because they don't see, they don't recognize their own strength, their own powers in everything that they do. And this is it's well, it's this is the thing that when I hear it I'm like, oh.
What happens then? Yeah, it's
And I say it's like, comparing a pig to a banana. That's, I don't know why this comparison came to my mind
say
a
that
few.
again. Comparing, eh?
A pig to a banana, it's like
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
you can't compare them, but
No.
but when but when we look at others and we're able to recognize that other people are doing something that we would like for ourselves,
Hmm.
instead of saying how can I use my own authentic powers and strengths and my unique abilities to create something similar,
Yeah.
instead we're saying how can I be more like that. We don't want to be more like that. You want to be to
No.
incorporate that into who
Yeah.
you are. So
Yeah. So if I hear you correctly, it's like okay, showing them actually all the beautiful sides and the strength that you have to empower that, and it's
yeah,
also of course the empowering and yeah, and to stop the comparing to something else, be it a pig or a banana or whoever else that is.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in to hear is like, because if things are so ingrained, like, how do you guide people into shifting that? It's like, yeah, that's, I would be curious to hear more about that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have to, awareness is a very first step, right? We
Hmm.
have to be aware that we are in a
Hmm.
place that doesn't serve us, that we don't want to be in, to allow ourselves to start asking the questions. Well, how come I'm doing this? How come I'm
Hmm.
in that situation? So the first thing I help people do is to start observe their conversations that they're having with themselves, and
And
and so
how do they do that? Like, just in everyday life to pay attention, because when it has become normal, sometimes you don't even notice it anymore, huh? And
exactly,
yeah,
exactly, and that's the patterns, and patterns are automatic, and
yes.
you never notice them.
Huh.
But because we are starting the conversation of how do I change, how do I stop doing what I've always done to create a more enabling and empowering way for myself,
Hmm.
then I say, okay, just pay attention, because if I ask you, tell me about the conversation that you're having with yourself, when you want to go and buy a pair of shoes, for example, that are £30 more expensive than you would normally buy, right? Then I would say to you, tell me the conversation, and you will know exactly
Yeah.
what the steps. Oh, I will look at it and I say, oh, I really want it, and then I immediately say, well, but it's too expensive, and then, oh, well, you don't deserve it, or maybe you never spend that much money, and basically you will already know the conversation that you will be having. So basically, when I say now let's observe the conversations, you're starting to, a lot of it will be automatic and you will not notice it,
Mhm.
but every now and then in your day there will be moments of clarity where you say, oh, I get that. And
The
that
clear,
would be,
mm,
with interaction with people, maybe people that trigger you, or when you say, hey, I want to do something, and then you will not do it, right? So in various points throughout your day, you will be able to stop yourself and observe the conversation. And
mm,
then I always say the next thing to do is to say, well, is this really true? This fear, this negative conversation that I'm having with myself, is it really true? Is it true that if I buy these shoes, I will lose all my money, or that it would be the biggest mistake of my life, or you
mhm.
know, whatever the conversation is?
Yeah.
And
I like that. It's very practical, and also to really zoom in onto a situation, because then you can figure out, hey, what is happening? And then the next step, like you say, awareness, is it really true? Yeah,
exactly,
it's also very practical. Yeah.
it's a really good question, because it helps you to see that actually it's not true. And I never, in all of my life, I don't think I've ever come to a situation where I say, "Is it really true?" And someone said, "Yes, it's 100% true." It never is. Maybe it was once true, and maybe it was a percent true, but it's never 100% true.
Hmm.
And so people are able to say, "Well, what is a new way for me to now approach this situation?"
Hmm.
So buying something that is more expensive than you would normally is one thing, but
Hmm.
a lot of the time it's more about looking at how people, about your interactions with people, how they behave, what are they doing, also about us daring to do something that we haven't done before. So
Hmm.
every time when we're about to do something that we're not used to doing or that is new, we have that, we now have to try and come out of the comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
And we are about to lose, or not to lose, or to leave the comfort zone, and now we have to deal with the outside world. It's a place we haven't been in, well, for a very long time, and
Yeah,
it's
I
all
can imagine that it feels also a bit vulnerable, and what also pops into my mind is curiosity. I mean, you have to really underlook what's happening inside,
yeah,
and
yeah,
also a big amount of trust
yeah.
that comes into play. Is that,
Exactly. So,
yeah.
so curiosity and trust is basically the answer to how you're feeling, because when you're coming out of your comfort zone,
Mm,
it is very vulnerable, because you haven't been there before, and you
yeah,
have all of these fears about what is going to happen as soon as you step out of this comfort zone, and you go around, and basically it's like you're going around and you're constantly looking to the sides to see where is the danger, where is the
yeah,
problem going to come from, so that you can just, you know what, I'm okay. I didn't really want to do it anyway. Yeah, change my
Ah,
mind. We're all good now. So
yeah.
what we want to do instead is to say, okay, I know that as soon as I'm going to step out of my comfort zone, there's going to be, things, reality, questions, conversations,
Mhm.
interactions. They're going to be unknown. They're going to be scary. They're going to be unfamiliar.
Mm.
So with curiosity and trust, I am
Yeah.
able to say, do you know what? Even if it scares me, I can ask, do I know for sure that it's going to be a problem? And if not, then I can bring in the trust and say, okay, so I trust that in the same way that I was able to, to do all of my past in a way that worked out, I
Hmm.
trust that also the future is going to work out.
Yeah.
And what I really like is to bring in that this idea about our unconscious mind. And this is basically the trust is in knowing that it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to actually get exactly what you needed to get.
Mm.
Either you're going to get
Go wrong, in fact.
exactly, we can't go wrong. We either get the results that we thought we wanted to get,
Hmm.
or we're going to get the best lesson that will give us the best result.
That
Because
is very beautiful, because then I mean there is I see it, I see like a world opening up, that because it feels like the trust is like a safety net that's underlying that whatever you do, it's fine.
exactly, because your fear that something is not going to work out is your ego. And the belief that if I decided that this is how I want things to happen, this is the only way. But actually, it's often actually you say it's I'm so lucky that it didn't happen the way that I wanted it to happen, because what I got instead is so much more empowering or amazing. Basically, something that I couldn't imagine for myself, the
Hmm.
universe created for us.
Mm.
So that's why curiosity and trust are so important here,
Yeah.
because there is a saying I heard it someone sometime, I don't know where I heard it, but someone said, when we get the results that we want, it's with God's permission, and
Uh-huh.
when we don't get the results that we want, is with God's protection. So I like
Beautiful.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel my heart becoming warmer now as I listen to that. Thank you for this gem.
Yes.
And when I hear you talk about your work, I feel that you really lived through it. That's what I hear with every word that you say. How did you come to work with people like this? How did you maybe tell us about the moment when you decided, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this for people? How is your, maybe tell us a bit about your story if you want.
Yeah, I'm very happy to share my story. It's I guess it's quite a funny one. But where does it start? I guess it starts when I was trying to figure out a way to, well, to separate from my ex-husband. I didn't like the marriage. It wasn't working out. It should never have happened. And I was like, but how do I push him out?
Oh, that is really a trapped situation if you're in a marriage that's like that's not working. And yeah.
Exactly. It was really, it was really a complicated situation,
Hmm.
but then something happened in the end, and he did go, and I was like, and now, and breathe, and now I can be myself. And I was like, but who is myself? I had no idea. 'Cause I was with him for about 10 years.
Yeah, that's a long
So if
time. Yeah.
it was it was a very long time. But if
I hear it's a long time. I can hear all the suffering of those 10 years.
it was just, it was a learning experience. So,
Among for sure other good
but,
experiences.
yes, but when he left, I was like, okay, so who am I? Because I knew who we were, and I knew, if you ask, hey, do you want to do something? It would be like, yeah, we are busy. We don't like this. We do want. It was always a we. It wasn't really a me. I had no idea who I was, and
Okay.
um, and I remember going to, because although I wanted him out, I also, when he left, it was like a complete new life, and it was like it was, the silence was deafening, and it was like just me in the house with my emotions and my not knowing. And the thing was that I was never a confident person. I was really, I always needed someone to say, oh, you can't do this, or you should do this. So I really relied a lot about on other people's understanding of what was right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so after a couple of days in this kind of black hole of, I was happy that he was gone, but I really didn't know who I was and what I was meant to do with my life. I decided to go and see a psychologist or a therapist or something,
Mhm.
and and I and I found someone. He gave me the address, so I arrived there. It was a church hall. It was a huge church hall, and
Mhm.
at the corner of the church hall there were two chairs, and he was there. He was like, "Come, come." So as I came nearer, I could see that he was actually completely and utterly drunk. He was like,
Okay. Tell me. I'm curious how it's going on. Yeah.
it was just so funny, and there is me completely confused at this drunk guy, and I said, and so I sat down and I said, like, I'm here, so I'm going to talk to you, of course. So I started telling him a story. I don't remember exactly what I said, and he just said the one sentence that completely changed my whole life. He said, "My dear," he said, "you are lacking the power of your own convictions." And I was like, my English was okay, but wasn't amazing. And all of these words together, I was like, I know each of them individually, but I have no idea what you meant. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
thank you, I guess. No idea. And then next day at work, I went to one of my colleagues and I said, Colin, what does he mean? What did he want to say? And he was like, and he just explained a little bit
Uh-huh.
what he thought it meant. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is exactly it. I don't trust myself. I don't know
Mhm.
who I am. I don't know how to progress. I don't, I basically realized that I was operating from fear, and
Ah,
actually fear was like it was a resident in my life, and I didn't do anything because I was so scared. And and then after this really funny conversation with his drunken shrink,
I see it in front of my inner eye. Yeah.
it was really quite funny. But after that, I said, okay, so really, what do I do? And then I decided, do you know what? I'm going to do the opposite. Everything that scares me, I'm going to ask the question: if you do it, is it going to kill you? If the answer is absolutely yes, I will not do it. But if the answer is no, then I know that this is a fear-based, reaction, and I'm going to go for it. And then what then happened was that anything that scared me, I had that conversation. Does it scare you? Good. So why don't we do
Love it.
this? It
I love
was
Yeah.
exactly, and it became a very very simple equation. Really, does it scare you? Yes. Will it kill you? No. Okay, we're doing it. When can I do it? And then
Yeah.
I went on a
Yeah.
diving course. I did my advanced study diving, even though so just to show you how the
Yeah.
progression went. Um, Once I remember I went to Italy with a friend, but then I had a couple of days by myself in Rome.
Mhm.
And I remember going to the Vatican and then coming back, and I was like, "Do you know what? I'm terrified of people. I'm always the one that is in the corner. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go into every bar or pub that I see on the way. And the Vatican Road is very, very long.
Yes. Yeah.
Every bar I see, I'm going to go in. I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to have a snack, and I'm going to have a conversation with one person. And by the end of the evening, I was very drunk.
Okay. Wow.
I
This.
wasn't hungry anymore, and I had quite a few friends, new friends that
Yeah.
I've made, and it was so liberating because it really showed me that all of the fears were just in my head,
Huh.
and then from that on,
I think that is so important for many, 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 many people because what you nailed it. Like this, the fear is I think the biggest monster
yeah,
that can be there. And
yes.
also what I hear you say is that you really boil it down into very simple pattern. Does it scare me? Yes. Will it kill me? No. Let's go. And I again I feel it here in my chest. It's like you have actually you turn the fear into courage with that.
Well, what I did after that, I went to do a challenge for lifetime. So I raised tons of money for arthritis research campaign, and
Okay.
then went to climb the foothills of the Himalaya. There met some incredible group of people that became friends for a very long time. And after that, in Nepal, they were saying, come and teach English for us. The kids in the
Mhm.
village, they really need a teacher, English teacher, but you have to have qualification. So here I am, someone who never trusted my language. I went to do the English as a foreign language course. By
Wow.
that time, Nepal had all the Maoists and stuff. So I was like, do you know what? That could kill me. I'm not going there.
Mm.
Instead, I went to Mongolia. I stayed there for a year. I taught English as a foreign language. Then my boyfriend, ex boyfriend now husband, joined me, and we then after that we went traveling across Southeast Asia. Then I came back to the UK, did my masters. I didn't have a first degree, but because of industry experience, I was accepted to a master's degree. And all
Mhm.
of these things are just these are the things that scared me. I mean, I never thought I could study and a master's, and but it is about putting one step after, taking one step after the
Yeah.
next, and trusting that anything that happens, any person you meet, anything that happens is going to be something so helpful and useful in my overall journey.
Mhm.
And when I finished my studies, my masters, you know I was going to study one thing, but then happened to come across the idea of user experience design, and so
Say
sort
that
of
again. Use.
user experience design. This is helping people to create websites and systems that are helpful and
Okay.
user friendly and all of that.
Mhm.
And so, like that started my career for most of my adult life. I think was in user experience design, and
Mhm.
then I said, you know what? I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to meet the people.
Wow, that is amazing. That
it
is amazing. When I
it was
listen to you now here, it's a big journey, and also, yeah, all of that you wouldn't have done that if you would have listened to your fear, but
exactly,
you
and
lived. Yeah. So I think that,
exactly.
yeah, wow. I'm struck
I,
with awe, actually. Yeah.
I think I like that story because when I came back and when I was talking to people, I understood that actually, all of a sudden, I was the most courageous person in the room because I actually did what I want, what scared me, but other people, they just talk. and
Mm.
and they say, "Oh, I wish I could do this," or I wish I could do that," and they never do. And
So
then
you,
I was able to look at myself and say, "Do you know what? I am not like that."
mm,
And 2 years ago, I did the same when I took my daughters and we went to India. We went traveling. We were going to travel for 6 months, backpacking across India, but of course we managed 3 months, and then COVID happened.
yeah,
But
and
you
yeah.
know, it's the same kind of thing. If you want it, the question is, not why not and what's going to go wrong and how it's going to interfere with my life. It's
Mhm.
actually to recognize that the idea is here for a reason. It's calling you, it's exciting you. It's like, and the idea with India, I couldn't wait. It was, I had to do it, right? So imagine if it's something that I felt like I had to do, and then I say, well, life, I can't, I'm not doing it. So, right,
Yeah.
it's really about opening that tap and inviting the flow and doing, because this is your life, not the hopping and the not doing.
I get actually totally excited when I listen to you now. I feel it. I feel it really here in my stomach when I listen to you. This is it's very empowering and also, yeah, inspiring. And
Yeah, I hope I can inspire people, because that's
yeah.
that's really what I want to show people, that if they feel stuck, if they feel unhappy, unfulfilled, unmotivated, this is not life. I have a friend that he used to say, what did you say? Another day, same a different day, and same shit, different day. That was what you used to say.
Same different day. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. And I never thought about it at the time, but now when I think about it, this is fear based. This is fear based living, because
Yeah.
you know that you're not happy, and you know that there's something else that potentially can be so incredible, but
Hmm.
you're connecting to everything that can go wrong and thinking about money and pension and because we put ourselves in these boxes and we say, well, I have to stay here in this box for now, but when
Yeah.
I retire or when the kids are in college, I will go and do something else.
To always put
Actually,
it off, put it off, put it off,
ex-
put it off, and then
exactly,
suddenly you die.
exactly. And you don't want people, to stand around your grave saying, he could have had a great life or she could have
Yeah.
had an amazing life.
Yeah.
You do want to recognize that something is calling you for a reason, and
Yes.
let's explore it. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be black and white. You don't have to do what I seems to be doing, in my life, which is jumping ship and going
No,
from one.
refers back, I think, to what you said earlier. Like, everybody is unique and individual, and also to go
Yeah,
step for step at a time. Because I think what I hear from you is, there's two different opposites. There's fear, but also that craving for safety. And that
yeah,
is, everybody has that. We all want to feel safe. And I think that's also what many people, yeah, refrain them from doing what they would love. And then you can untangle and unleash them with your methods and with your tools to actually give them much more freedom, huh? And I
yeah. Because
and I
that's sorry.
mm,
Uh, uh,
linking into that, I've read that you are, and also experienced it to some degree, that you are engaging now into an emotion and body code. Could you talk about that? That's
yes, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about the people I work with, and the reason why it's such a powerful, journey together is because what I can do with them is just to guide them, and basically it's like I'm standing in the border, and I say,
Mhm,
actually, you're safe. You're safe to pass. And yes, you will have this conversation with yourself where you are scared and you basically try to collect the reasons why you should go back into your comfort zone. But here I am in exactly that,
mhm,
linking point, and I'm showing you that you can do it. And this is why it's such a powerful journey. But
mm,
yeah, about the emotion and body code, this is again one of these things that just came into my life, and I'm so amazed by it. When I was doing my NLP course a long time ago now, I learned about the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind, it's the most incredible entity that we have, right? The most incredible thing about us. It has the blueprint of the best version of ourselves. So
mm,
physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and it's
mhm,
all the time trying to steer us in the right direction. So
mhm,
basically, unconscious mind is so powerful. It's also very quiet. So here it is. This incredible thing is trying to say, "Hey, do this, do that." And what we do is bring up the negative voice and say, "Well, actually, I'm too scared. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to stay where I am."
mm,
So the unconscious mind is like, well, seriously, I am powerful. I am more powerful than you. I'm the boss, in a sense. You should really do what I say. So this is in a nutshell, the conversation between
mhm,
the unconscious mind and the negative voice. So the unconscious mind is giving us messages all the time, trying to say, well, do this, do that.
mhm,
This is where I. This is how I planned your path for you, basically. Unconscious mind with the universe. I might add. So here we are, not listening to the message, not listening to what the unconscious mind is trying to say, and we say, "Well, I'll be fine. I'll do things my way." And now we become incongruent, right? So we are out of alignment between what we are meant to do and what we're actually doing.
mm,
The emotion code and the body code, actually, one is building on the other, is understanding that we go through emotional situations and traumas, and we don't process the emotions that we feel, that we go through, and instead it's like, okay, it's too painful, I'm just going to park it for a little bit, I'll come back to it later, right?
mhm,
Bury our head in the sand, in a sense. But the emotion then it becomes trapped in our body. So what happens is that each of these emotions, they have a size and a shape, and because they are now trapped in our body, they press on organs and glands in our body, and we become imbalanced. So every organ or gland that is out of balance, basically we feel it. Maybe it's a physical discomfort, maybe emotional, mental. There's all those discomforts that we've now carrying around with us. And in the work that I do with emotion and body code, I help people to basically understand what is going on. I help to identify the trapped emotions. I
mm,
help to find the imbalances. I release trapped emotions. I realign or reset balances in the different imbalances that they have. And basically, what I do, really, I don't heal anyone, but what I do is I help the body get back to its innate ability to heal itself. So all of a sudden, the body's like, "You've released all of these things. Now I can actually do what I was meant to do." So
So, wow, yeah. So what I hear you say is that because it is a very holistic approach, because things are absolutely interconnected. I personally do believe that 100%. And that and I see in images like you that you like put the veil of what actually obstructs people from being in flow. Is that could that be said like that?
you can say it, yes. And the interesting thing is that when we release, all of these things that I just mentioned, I don't know actually what the outcome will be, but a lot of the time, nearly every person I do this work with say that they feel lighter and calmer and kind of more aligned. And
Mm-hmm.
then whatever they come for, maybe backache or there's different ailments and stuff that I've already worked with on people,
Hmm.
then they report back that things are feeling much better.
Yeah,
And of course, then that's a question of how many sessions we might need to do.
right.
But the change can be quite instant. And if I bring back to what I said before about the body, the unconscious mind having the blueprint of the best version of ourselves, this is what the body does. It knows how to heal us. It
Mm-hmm.
knows how to what we need to do to be the best version of ourselves, physically, mentally, emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
spiritually. So this walk is really helping people to get back into that best
Yeah.
version of themselves, and
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
incredible. It really is incredible.
Yeah. It sounds fascinating. And you mentioned a bit like with what kind of problems people come to you, and I heard like back pain. Could you say some situations that people what kind of questions do they come with for you that what they can help and you can help them with?
Yeah, yeah. Well, so the main thing that I say always is, I come with curiosity, because even, well, of course, I have no way of knowing what the, how we're going to, what we're going to do in a sense.
So
But
what,
people
sorry,
come,
may I interrupt? What I meant to say, maybe I wasn't formulating clearly. With what kind of questions do people come to you? Like,
yeah,
for
yeah.
yeah.
No, no, I was getting there. It's okay.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
I
Yeah.
was I was going to say, well, people come with various things, right? So there was back pain, there's infertility, there's
Mm,
hip problems, there's feeling that like the body is out of alignment. There was things like low energy and feeling low generally.
mhm,
Um, there's like money problems and how to manifest whatever you want in life. There was actually already a whole range of different things, but I think the what I was trying to say earlier is that when we think about pains or ailments that we have, we don't understand the connection, because there's not just the organ and the glands, there are also all the energy channels in the body,
yeah. Mhm,
and when we start releasing things start to come together. So the body's natural energy flow, gets restored, and that's the most
mhm,
beautiful thing. um, there is one story that I tell with one of my clients. It was basically the way that I work on the body code is I have an app, and with the power of elimination, I allow your subconscious mind to guide me to where the problem is that I need to release or work on. So I was working with one woman, and she was. I mean, I've been working with her for a while already, so that was probably the fifth session with her,
mhm.
and we came to realize that she had what we call a spirit break. And a spirit break means that, here we are all alive and well, in a sense, and we have the body and we have the spirit, and usually the connection is 100%. But
Mhm.
when we go through some really traumatic events and a lot of pain and all of that, sometimes it's like the spirit want to say, "Do you know what? I'm ready to move on," and the spirit actually want to try to leave the body.
Wow. Mhm.
So what I found with her is that she had a 20% connection between the body and the spirit. So the spirit was really just like trying to say, "Come, we've had enough of this life. I'm ready to go home."
Oh, that's really on
Um,
the edge, huh?
it was,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So basically, what I do in this sense, I walk, I walk to with her, find all of the associated imbalances for this spirit break, and then I came to the time where I was able to start putting the intention to bring the spirit back to reunite with the body. So I walk. I have a magnet, fridge magnet, and I do. There's a lot of releasing, use kind of movements that I do. But when I do that, I close my eyes and I connect, and I do my thing. So I do that walk with her, and I bring in the spirit back, the connection. I think it was from 20 to 60, and then 60 to 80, and so and I'm not looking at her. I'm in the process of doing. So I come to that place and I say, right, it's 100%, and I do muscle testing, so I know that it is now 100%, and I look at her, and all of a sudden I see a completely new person. Before we started, she was very emotional. She was crying. I understood that she had to reprocess some of the things that she was going through. But when I finished reconnecting her body to the spirit to the body, she was sitting there. She was connected. She was
Mhm.
grounded. She was radiating. She was the whole energy was like a completely different person. I was like, whoa, where did you
And
come from?
also, yeah, also here now, I feel it in my body as I listen to you. And all these fascinating things, because you do that online. Is that correct?
Yes,
When I
yes,
heard it first time, we had an early previous conversation, I was like, whoa.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I mean, I'm familiar with kinesiology and also with physical practices,
mm,
because that's also part of my expertise. But that you can do that online, also with the muscle testing, which is part of kinesiology online, that opens a whole different world, and also I
yes,
think can reach so many people who are in need for this.
yeah. And I know some people are like, what?
Yeah, it was my first reaction, in fact, and I was like, "Whoa!" And immediately sent it actually to a friend of mine who also works with somatic practices. He said, "Hey, you have to listen to this. It
Yeah.
is possible. It's inspiring. This needs to be done more, and it needs to be out in the world." Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But so the way that I do it, because if you think about it, we really are all energy, but also we are all, you know, we're all cosmically related and connected. So when I connect, if I was walking with you, it doesn't matter if we're face to face or over
Mhm.
Zoom, or even if you are, out and about doing your own business, and I am just connecting with your subconscious mind with permission. I must say, there's always permission. I
Yeah.
will never do it without permission.
Yeah.
But say you contact me and say, right, can you work on me? And this is what is troubling me. I can do the same thing. I sit, take a moment, I connect with your subconscious mind, and
Mm-hmm.
and then with my app, I start asking, okay, what is the most important thing that we're working on today? What are we, what is basically hindering your best version of yourself? And then I start working on you. So if we're sitting like this over Zoom
Mm-hmm.
with each other, then I can ask you some questions. Sometimes things come up that I need to ask, like if there's like a physical intolerance, for example.
Hmm.
If you're there, I can say, is it, I don't know, what is it? Do you know something already that you are, allergic to or something?
Uh-huh.
If you're not there, I have to really ask for help to say, okay, give me out of 2 million and something, things in the world that you can be allergic to, give me the one answer. So sometimes that can be a little bit challenging.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, it is basically I connect with your subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind then guides me, to find in what way I can help you.
Mm-hmm.
When I take a moment to connect, I basically then say, if I connect with you, I say, oh, thank you, thank you to the great divine, and then I say, my name is Claudia, and then I test a muscle test, and if it's a no, like now we're not connected,
So you basically
I
use swap hats. Is that? I mean,
give it.
I said it very simple now, like because I can imagine when that for people who basically they give your soul into your hand, and then you're the facilitator or the vessel who facilitates the process.
Yes,
Make sure, okay, you are the channel that can open to the universe or whoever power that is, with help of your app, very practical, to
yeah.
actually identify this is what we need to do, and then you can do the work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I said that I am like the middleman between them and their subconscious mind.
Yes. Okay.
So here I am facilitating this conversation,
Hmm.
and and it's not, I can't see anything else in the subconscious mind. I'm not looking, coming in the looking for secrets and stuff.
chambers and stuff. Okay.
It's not at all what I do, but instead I just really have that conversation of
Uh-huh.
how can I help? How can I help you to heal yourself? So what do I need to find that is blocking you? That once I remove that, you can say, okay,
Hmm.
I can now take control, basically take over. So it is very fascinating, and
Yeah, mind blowing.
yeah.
Will you say also, I mean, that people they can sign in for like 5 sessions or 10 sessions? I don't know. How do you work with that? Like, if people want to come to you, what is the process?
Do you mean with the body code? Or
Yeah.
yeah, with the body. So with the body code, what I'm doing, first of all, I invite people to have a free 20 minutes conversation so that I can understand what is going on in their lives, what kind of help they might need in,
Mhm.
with their body or emotions or whatever. And then either they can book just a 1 hour where we just sit there and release, or they can book a package of 3 sessions of 1 hour each.
Okay.
And usually what I found is that we do need a little bit more than
Mhm.
just the one session, but
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't
people,
be amazed because usually in one session, I mean, from own experience, you can get to what is going on, but for lasting change, it often requires a longer commitment, I feel.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
that
And sometimes people go away after the session and say, "Oh, I feel so much better." And then after a few days, they say, "Oh, but it came back." And it doesn't mean that it didn't work. It just means that we've done the right thing. We're in the right track, but there's a
Mhm.
little bit more that we need to do. So
There's
then we
more work
just
to do.
need a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Hmm.
Yeah, and people come. There is a list in the book of this emotion code. um, it's a whole list of things that Dr. Bradley Nelson, the one that discovered this method, and it's weight issues, it's dyslexia, it's headaches, it's infertility, it's all of these different things that people are thinking, maybe taking, you know, people say, "Oh, I have this." When people resign to the fact that this will always be that way, this is
Hmm.
the best place for me to come in and say, "Do you know what? This is what your doctors told you. Let's just try something else, and
Hmm.
let's see what happens." That's another place where curiosity comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. Curiosity can open the door. Wonderful. So you offer the body code, the emotion code. You offer your other trajectories besides that new method. And I think you're also to be heard in a summit now coming up. Is that open for everyone, or is that what?
Yeah.
I read it on social media, and I love the title. Enough with the fluff. Do you want to say anything about that, or?
Yeah, well, it's a summit. Yes, it's actually happening already. Started yesterday, and it's until the 22nd. And it's every day. There's interviews with me included, but with the other uh, thought leaders, should I say? And each of us is bringing their own, their own unique take on what is happening in their own practice, in a sense. So I'm talking again about the negative self-talk and what happens when we stop listening to it. Yeah, it's a great summit, actually, and I love that title, "Enough with the Fluff." It's
Yeah, yeah,
let's
it's very,
let's let's
very catchy. It's like, okay, I hear that. What is it?
yeah, let's go with it. Yes, exactly.
And you
Yes,
also have been doing quite some work in corporate organizations for leaders.
yes,
So
yes.
you work for individuals, but you also work for leaders who actually are responsible for the team functions or for the communication. Is that correct?
Yes, that's very true. And it's also, and this is, I like it because it's more of the ripple effect. Of course, when I'm working one on one with private people, then it's them, and the ripple effect is always there. But when I work with the leaders, it feels a little bit more, that the ripple effect is even more, because when they change how they show up, and then when they allow their teams to do, when they start looking, I'll rephrase that. When people start operating again, not from fear, but from authenticity, from their
Hmm.
powers, from their strengths, from really connecting with people, all of a sudden everything changed. Like
Yeah,
it goes down to all of the team members, to their lives, to their families, to all of that. And this is it. We don't have to follow, strict boxes. It's not one size fits all. There's other things. Let's ask the
Yeah.
questions. Let's allow to connect with other things that feel
Mhm.
right, not just you know the fears and the worries about how other people are going to
Yeah.
view us and how they're going to judge us and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I work with quite a few leaders in different corporates,
Mhm.
and also of course the private clients that I have.
Mhm.
And then there's the body and emotion code, which is kind of married together now. And then yes, and then I do the online courses
Yeah.
that
And
people
yeah, and I
can.
saw also on your website you have some free online courses as well if people want to get to know you. That
Yes.
is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is one course. I think it's called the 5 Steps to a Confident You,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's a free course. It's quite a short one, and it really helps people to they get all of my what I believe in, all of my wisdom, I should say, in a few modules. So there's some videos and some reflections and some worksheets that they can do. So really, if they decide to take the time, they can really get to a better place in terms of their confidence.
Yeah. Beautiful. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
a whole palette of of offers that you have and that you can help people with. I mean, from leaders and I because I worked also in leadership for many years, and I know like when leaders change, the people can get the chance to change as well. It's very mesmerizing and rewarding and very needed also in this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful
Exactly.
work. Yeah. Is
Yes.
there anything else you would like to say now for that you would like to, or any advice that you can give people in their lives when they feel stuck or when they feel like, oh, I would love to shift.
Well, my advice is always, it's really what I was doing for myself. So I always give it to others is basically recognize that you're not where you want to be, and then find the conversation that is holding you back, and then ask, is it really true?
Is it
And a
really?
lot of the time, the people that I work with, they usually already figured out that they're not happy with what is happening in their lives. And then they come to me because they know that they can't do it by themselves.
Mm,
And then that's when I come in and we go on this incredible journey together. It's a joint journey, and
yes.
uh,
Uh-huh.
you know we are going through that together, because to
Yeah.
have that courage to move from, to leap above the borders of the comfort zone,
Mm,
it needs guidance. It needs someone there to say, you know what, I see you, you can do it, I trust you, I see all of your beautiful things that are just waiting just outside your comfort zone. You can do it, let's go. So
hmm.
sometimes I call myself a personal cheerleader. Someone actually called me what did he said I was a comfort blanket. I was like, yeah. I'm good with that.
Hmm. Yeah, I read all the I mean, some testimonials on your website, and I was also impressed. Like, wow, so many people that you have helped already, and I hope there will be so many more to come.
Yes,
And
yes,
I always enjoy very much talking with you because you are, as I said it before, this quality of listening and this curiosity. So you really walk the talk and make people feel at ease and that they can trust, okay, now I'm going to join in there and go into this journey. Yeah.
yes. If I can help people to trust themselves that they can do it,
Hmm.
that's all I want. And but thank you also for a beautiful interview and such lovely words. And I really appreciate our connection too. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you, I know. Yeah.
Thank you. Right. So say goodbye to everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. You can watch the video back in Untangled Coaching, and it's going to be streamed as well on LinkedIn, I think.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.